Every day, we are learning more about our evolving world. Every day, ideas are born. Challenges become opportunities. To succeed, we need people with the vision, passion, and the knowledge to turn opportunity into reality. That's us at ABB. Thinkers, engineers, scientists, innovators. The ideal partners to unlock customer value through the domain expertise of a digital pioneer. We have the strength to realize the once unthinkable. Writing a future where cities are free from traffic emissions, where buildings produce more energy than they consume, and renewable energy knows no borders, traveling across countries and continents. A future where machines can tell us how they feel, where ships with sensors communicate to navigate more efficiently. A future where robots work hand in hand with humans. We are driving the progress our world needs and creating value for our customers with smarter, faster, more reliable solutions. And joining forces with Formula E is a major part of our mission to make the electric revolution come true. Day after day, we bring visions to life. Let's write the future together. ABB.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chairman and Co-CEO, Salesforce, Marc Benioff.
All right, well, good morning, everybody. Are you all having a great day? All right. How's the conference going yesterday? Did you enjoy yesterday? Okay. All right, and we're going to have a good event tonight, I promise you that. So, welcome, everybody. We're so happy that you're here. And we are going to have our very good friend Uli come out, and we're going to meet him, the CEO of ABB. He's come all the way from Switzerland, and it's really an honor for me personally that he's made this incredible commitment to us. And please welcome Uli. Uli, come on out.
Good morning.
Great.
Good morning.
So, why don't we sit down and we'll just get right into it. How
Absolutely.
Does that sound?
Let's get going.
He's a fantastic speaker, by the way, so I'm really excited about this. And he and I have been friends for quite a few years. I think we met through the World Economic Forum.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
where you bragged about your company, what you could do, and we needed to test it, and it's good, so we're still here.
Well, thank you for being here. And, you know, I think, you know, you've been here a few times to San Francisco, and, you know, I think that people here maybe haven't heard about ABB, and they don't know you, Uli, and, you know, this is why I think it's such a great honor for me that you are here, and what does it mean that you're here, and who are you? Can you just kind of give us that introduction to yourself and the company?
Now, look, first of all, thank you very much for allowing me to be part of this fantastic event this week. Congratulations to you for putting this up as every year. It's amazing. We do customer events with 4,000, 6,000 people, and we think we are cool. He's doing it with more than 100,000 people, so I still have a lot to learn from you. So on ABB is a pioneer.
It's not a competition.
No, it's not.
No.
Not at all. We are not competitive at all. So ABB is a pioneering technology leader that serves utilities, industry, and transport and infrastructure. We are a company that's in business for more than 130 years. We are active in more than 100 countries. We are approaching about 40 billion revenue, and we have about 140,000 people all around the world. We have taken the company in the last years through a massive transformation to move from a company that differentiated with copper and iron kind of products like motors and transformers. And we built a clear differentiating offering based on digital offering for our customers in the 3 sectors. I've been appointed CEO of the company 5 years ago. I'm serving the people of ABB and their customers all around the world. And for me, the identity of the company is not only what we do, it's also how we run the business. So when we started the journey, we said the identity on the one hand is the pioneering technology leadership. But on the other hand, we said, how do we run this firm? And we set up a set of 5 value pairs and said whatever changes in terms of content, because technology is changing very quickly, we have 5 value pairs and everybody in ABB at any time carries them around. And that's basically part of our identity, because I think in today's very fast changing world.
What does it say on that card?
Well, you have on the one hand, you have the description of who we are, and on the other one, you have the 5 value pairs. It's safety and integrity as the basic driver license. It's customer focus and quality. It's innovation and speed. It's ownership and performance. It's collaboration and trust, which are basically the values.
Have those changed and evolved as you've been the CEO, or have they been static?
No, what we did is, when we started the journey together with the team and I got appointed, we sat down and say, let's forget about where we come from for a moment. And let's talk about what do we stand for our customers in the future. And some of them sound super simple, but they were some of our biggest challenges. Collaboration and trust. We used to run an ABB where you either do your stuff yourself, you buy it from somebody and put it in, or you don't do it. Today, we have a network of partners like you, where we're collaborating together to drive our front end to new levels of productivity. I don't own, as a company, a part of Salesforce. You don't own ABB, but we are still trusted partners working together. And that's a new operating principle that we, on the one hand, have in our values, but then we live it. And what we also did is we hardwired this. Because when you get evaluated at the end of the year in our company, we look at your results and the quantitative elements. But then we look at, do you live these values? Yeah. And I think that has helped us to get a much more aligned, homogeneous kind of leadership culture that is still reflecting the diversity of the company and our markets, but brings people together.
You know, one of the things that I've learned going to Switzerland now so many times in the major cities in Switzerland is the Swiss culture is actually quite different than any other culture in the world. It's really unusual. And I kind of always use the analogy, it's very similar to going to Japan. When I go to Japan, I always feel like, wow, this culture is so different. But when I go to Switzerland, it's subtle. But the way that the Swiss think, act, behave, what's important to them, how does that reflect to those 5 values that you have on your card? When so many of your top executives are Swiss, when you look at that, how is that? By the way, I wore my Swiss pin here for you as well.
I was very interested in that.
How is the reflection of that? What should we understand about Switzerland and ABB and how it reflects, like your top value was safety and integrity?
Yeah. Look, I think first, your observation is right. We are a company with a Swiss origin, but your observation is not right in terms of the leadership structure. Because 8 of my 10 executives are not Swiss. I have Americans, Chinese, Indians on the executive committee. About 70% of the top 100 executives are non-Swiss and not Swedish, where is our heritage. But I think we still kept a lot of the culture. The Swiss-Swedish combination is an interesting combination. First, you all have, I lived for a long while in Australia, we have the tall puppy syndrome. Nobody wants to stand up and be the tall puppy somewhere, lead for something, stand for something. Now in times like today, we need to encourage our people to really lead and stand up. So one theme that we created in terms of ownership and performance, we said, everybody needs to know what you stand for, and then we want to see how you stand up for it. And the stand up sometimes is the hardest thing in the Swiss culture, where you always want to be very democratic, you want to be nice with everybody, you want to be neutral, The Swiss country has been neutral in the wars. It tries to be neutral on any political conflict. And nurturing the right leadership attributes with such a culture is not that easy.
There is an active diplomacy consciousness.
And
that is that the Swiss aren't just being neutral. This is like one I was talking about, subtle. And I see that also in you and how you lead. You know, I'm trying to learn from you. And it's different because when the Swiss are, you know, there's an active diplomacy to bring people together, to get involved in conflict, to help resolve conflict.
Absolutely.
Even like when Henry Dumont started the International Committee of the Red Cross out of Geneva, he was in another country, he said, wait, we need to help people and resolve these things. Is that part of your thinking?
Absolutely. If you take the value pair of collaboration and trust, we bring people together for the better. We really make sure, and when you have a culture where you have, in our headquarters, I just give you an example, we have about 500 people in the headquarters. Ours is much smaller than yours. So we have 500 people, and we have 67 different nationalities. This is like the United Nations of ABB when you walk in, and bringing them together on a daily basis to fulfill the purpose of the enterprise is something where the collaborative culture really helps us dramatically and helps us to deliver it. But I think one important element to drive collaboration is the second part of this value pair, that's trust. How did we two establish trust? By basically saying, you know what, I like what you're describing, what you could do. You like what we had as an opportunity. And we said, let's try it out. And I think that's what ABB all is about, this pioneering element, trying to do things for the first time. We were the first to introduce the industrial robots into the industrial world. We are the inventor of the industrial robot. Right. We are the first now in the largest scale. We have 28,000 people on your system all around the world. And we pioneered it together. When you and I started the journey, we didn't know how we're going to do that in detail. But we just said, let's establish the trust and let's do this and deploy the right resources. And that's why I'm also very, very grateful for all the support that we are getting from you and your team globally. We just had this morning with Keith, we had a good review session on our 360 relationship. And we're moving constantly towards more value added out of the partnership. And it's always built on the trust that is established on the previous stage.
Yeah. So, you know, when you came into ABB, is this how the company's culture was? Is this how the thinking was? Or did you have to make a transformation? Yeah. Or are you still in that transformation? Because you become one of the most successful CEOs in the world, certainly of a large company. I mean, I don't really know any other CEOs who have been as successful as you have been, especially on an international basis, especially in the innovations that you've created, not just the robotics like you mentioned or intelligence, but even in like some of the amazing things that I've seen you do with fast chargers for electric buses, or the pioneering thinking that you've put behind the Formula E, trying to make all the race cars be electric. You know, how can you give me that vision?
Look, I think basically I give you two vectors that we had to work on. The one was we were a company that was inside out. We had R&D people that were sitting in their labs, thinking something up, inventing something, and then try to launch it into the market. And when the customer didn't like it, well, the customer was stupid and we were always right. Unfortunately, the commercial success was not as good. So we had to change that to an outside-in company. Today, when we allocate capital, when we allocate resources, when we allocate priorities, outside-in is very important. We put NPS, Net Promoter Score, as one of the key parameters how we run the company. Before it was operational EBITDA. And you get a lot of operational EBITDA if your NPS is right, but we need to manage the driver. So I think that was one dimension in terms of the orientation of the company. It was hard. It was really hard to change proud engineering culture that was inside out and take people with us on the journey to say, whatever we do, it always needs to come customer-driven, market-driven. And the second dimension, as you rightly say, is technology. If you look at where we come from copper and iron. Motors, transformers. We added to that electronics, and we built about an $8 billion industrial electronics business. Then we added to that control and became the global leader in distributed control systems. The last couple of years, we added digital capabilities, and we are now with our ABB Ability set of offering, we're truly leading and creating value. in our customers' operations. And what's coming next? What's coming next is AI, because we have helped our customers to automate operations. Now we are moving towards autonomous operations. And to make the step from automated to autonomous, we need to be leading in AI use in industry. On a device level, on a plant level, we need to have a self-healing power grid in the future. And maybe to show this a little bit, I brought a little video clip that we could show what we have done with robotics. So maybe we can quickly show the video clip where recently we did something quite unusual with AI and robotics combined in also a very unusual setting. So maybe they can play this quickly.
The flexibility of the arms of Yumi is absolutely unthinkable, not even incredible, unthinkable for a machine. It is absolutely fantastic. It will be very useful because in this time when conductors are going to be one day in New York, the other day in London, the other day in Paris and whatever, they will never be along with the orchestra all the time. But you will see that the gesture of Yumi is another level. It goes far beyond the simple Taktstock, as it's say in German. It is something much more evident. It is something more artistic.
This example shows very nicely what can be done today by combining fantastically precise hardware. Yumi is as precise that you can put the thread through the needle, despite the fact that you have twice 7 axes moving. And Yumi learned to conduct this orchestra in 17 hours. I'm a musician all my life, and I've trained a lot all my life. I would never say I can learn to conduct an opera in 17 hours. So basically what we did here is we used AI and machine learning combined with unique hardware to create a completely new market, to create a completely new space, and I think which is super important, Marc, nowadays, to get people excited about technology. We have so many anxieties around robotics. Here it shows humans and robots can really work very nicely together. And it was, we had more than 700 million hits on YouTube on this video, which is remarkable. Maybe some of the pop bands should copy that. But seriously, I think this is something that we show. And that also shows the technology journey of our company. Living AI whilst not forgetting the hardware-based differentiation, bringing it together, is the way how we go.
Well, it kind of evokes a question, which is that, I mean, we just saw the robot became the conductor, you know, clearly Bocelli will have a job when this is all done, but what about our conductor MTT? I just saw even a video yesterday of a robot flying and landing a 747. I don't know if you saw that. And you know, are any of us going to have jobs when this is over? I mean, if the conductor's job was going to be done, whose job will be left?
Look, I think it's a very good point. And at the moment, as the world leader in robot innovation, we are clearly facing the challenge that a lot of people are concerned. They're anxious. They have fears. But just let me give you some facts. 1990, 1/3 of mankind lived below the extreme poverty line. Today, it's 8%. And we have the ambition together with the UN to get it to 0. And if you look at the dynamic in the last close to 30 years now, the countries that have embraced technology have moved millions of people from below the extreme poverty line because out of the sudden, they could provide industrial output at a quality and productivity which is competitive. Mankind is growing. We will have more demand for pieces, but we need to provide it. Take India and China. What India and China has done since the 90s, they've moved more than 400 million people from below the extreme poverty line up. Take Africa. Africa, unfortunately, has not yet embraced technology as much. We have a focused program to support there. And it has fallen behind, and there are more people below the extreme poverty line than before. So technology is really a good thing if used wisely. And the second thing, if you look at robots itself, the countries with the highest robot density, which is Germany, Japan, South Korea, and Singapore, all of them have more than 300 robots per 10,000 workers, have among the lowest unemployment rates. So what we need to learn is technology and humans combined in the right way will drive prosperity and growth, will drive employment, will drive affordability of product, and will drive demand. And that means all together, if we embrace technology in a responsible way, we can really get there. But what do we need to do? We need to communicate on the first thing, the facts that I just shared. And the second thing, and I think that's very specific about the fourth industrial revolution that we are facing at the moment, we need to revolutionize education. In the past, my dad learned the one job, the son learned the next job, and probably I thought my sons need to learn another job. So we had intergenerational job changes because technology evolved in generations. These times are over. I have two boys, 17 and 19, and when I sit down with them what they want to study and do, I said, you do anything which is not repetitive, and be ready to unlearn your job a couple of times through your life cycle. Now what we need to make sure is that when this is happening, we live our responsibility. You and I need to live it as entrepreneurs. Education bodies need to live it. Government needs to live it. And I really firmly believe the populations of the world in the future, whether it's companies or countries, that invest in a wise way to take people with them and revolutionize the education system in a way that the pace of change in technology is mirrored in the way, in the formats of education. We have to live responsibly, but we can take people with us. So information and education and all of us contributing to that is a very important thing. We live it in our company to really make sure that this is happening.
That's why I think this is really an imperative for the United States in regards to public education, workforce development. It was part of my call to action yesterday in my keynote. But it's also something, again, that I've learned from the Swiss and why I'm so happy that you're here. Because the Swiss perhaps have one of the best educational systems in the world, and it's done through public education.
Yes.
But it also has a phenomenal bifurcation, especially I think in the middle school and high school area, where you have deep evaluations done and you're presented with an option to take either an academic track or a vocational track. And the population gets split, but it results with almost 100% completion rate of every citizen getting an incredible public education. Can you give us some enlightenment in the United States about what we should know about that? I mean, I've been so inspired by it myself.
But look, if you put this in context, I always, when I travel around the world, my peers always ask me and say, hold on a second, you come from Switzerland, you have no natural wealth, you don't have any natural resources, you have the highest labor cost, you're a pretty small country, and you have very high cost of living, and you have the lowest unemployment rate. We have an unemployment rate of about 2%. How does this come together? And one answer to that is education. And the Swiss education system stands on two legs. The one is the classic university kind of education, but the other one is apprenticeship programs. And both together are really a source for competitiveness of a country, because let's not kid ourselves, it's about competitiveness, whether it's a country or a company, whatever. So that's really come. And the nice thing about the system, you said either or, that's not the way we are living it. We have a lot of people moving, for example, from a vocational training, and after 5 years being somewhere working with a vocational training, still moves over, does a university degree, and can do that. So it's an open system that stands on two legs. Now, when you look at the US, I think it's very interesting. We 2 years ago, we set up as the first global player a robotics plant here in Auburn Hills, close to Detroit. And a lot of people said, now you're going to kill American jobs. And that's a totally wrong hypothesis. If you look at the turnaround of the US automotive industry, if you go to the old Chrysler Neon plant up in Detroit, it was a plant that was horrible in terms of automation. The vehicles that came out of it, forgive me, were not exactly the nicest quality of the world, and therefore competitiveness went back. Putting automation in place and combining it with motivated workers is one of the secrets for quality, productivity, and worldwide competitiveness. Now, if you want to combine it with workers, you don't need only unskilled people. And you don't need only university graduates. You need the very skilled machine operator, and let's not kid ourselves, our machine operators today, they get trained in machine learning and AI in a very practical way. So if you do that, you can really drive the future of employment in this country here. And if you look at it, what's happening at the moment, you have on the one hand, you have certain signals of protectionism. That means you need to establish local value added. You also have, very, very soon, we will have basically no unemployment left other than the normal structural unemployment. That means you will have labor scarcity. That means you might have raising labor costs, which is not good for your competitiveness. So what you need to do is you need to combine automation together with training and get going. And I give you a real-life example. A very well-known mobile phone brand that is used all around the world and has a piece of fruit as the main brand, but I'm not allowed to say which one it is, recently said, okay, we want to set up value added here in the US. And just before Christmas, their contract manufacturing partner called us up and said, can we set up a plant as fast as possible? We used a combination of education of people and smart self-learning robot cells to put together a whole value chain. And in May, President of the US went to that plant and inaugurated it. And I think that's the future that it will be. You will have the protectionism on the one hand that everybody can have an opinion about whether it's right or wrong. It's happening at the moment, so you need to do something about it. You need to do something about education. You have the opportunity today with using automation smartly to reshore value added. We ourselves, in our company, we recently opened up a new plant in Germany, which is not known for low labor cost. So we opened it up, and it has the same cost per piece as our most productive plant in China. And how did we do that? By combining automation with people. Now, when you reshore value added, you might have a factor of 1 to 3, 1 to 8 in terms of jobs that go down there and jobs that come. But you're creating employment here. And at the same time, you and I travel frequently to China. In China, you have at the moment labor shortage. You have raising wages. So you even help there. You get it growing. So this new balance, I think technology can play a major role. Here in the US, I think we need to revolutionize the vocational training system. When we set up in Auburn Hills, we set up a vocational training. We have deployed now about 15 billion of capital the last 7 years to set up stronger in the US by acquiring companies. When we acquired Baldor in Fort Smith, Arkansas, one of the first things that we set up was a vocational program to support training up the people. So I think it's, as you rightly say, it can be a competitive asset of an economy, and we should jointly work on that.
All right, well, you've addressed innovation, you've addressed education, you've addressed workforce development, changes in jobs themselves. And I think another key area that you could really bring wisdom to us is something that occurred to me when I went to the World Economic Forum this year, and we do this every year. We provide education, coding education to local schools and local school children. And when we bring these kids in, what I've also noticed is that you have a lot of immigrants actually also in Switzerland in the schools. You're bringing in a lot of newcomers, and yet you use this word quickly with apprenticeships, but through apprenticeships, through structured immigration programs, you've deeply integrated them also into your society and your culture, and you've welcomed people who are on the move from other countries into Switzerland. How do you think we should be thinking about that here? It's a discussion that's going on in the United States as well.
Yeah, look, for me, I'm a very strong supporter of an open world, open markets, and open movement of people. We need that in the world to have more prosperity. If you take the city of Zurich, where I live, you might think you go there, you have all the Swiss people running around, and in fact, 30% of the population of Zurich is not Swiss. 30%. When I look at the primary school, when my boys went to primary school, my younger one, in the normal public primary school, he had in his class of 25, 8 different nationalities. And it was normal. It was absolutely normal. And people were integrated in a way. We don't welcome everybody in the country. That does not mean that the doors are open and everybody can just stream in, automatically gets employed. Switzerland has probably one of the toughest social systems. I give you an example. If I have a 55-year-old one working for us in Germany that doesn't perform, and he is more than 10 years employed, you basically can't fire the person anymore. In Switzerland, 3 months notice, and that's it. So there is a different work ethic that has been nurtured over many, many years in the environment. That does not mean we are firing people, because we don't need to. People know they have to perform, and they look at it and have a fun supporting the company. Now, if you put into that system where you have the need to grow in the right way, migrants or people from other countries, you can really make a difference. For us, in our R&D center, I have 7 R&D centers around the world. One of the bigger ones is in Dettwil in Switzerland. We have 70 different nationalities in the 1,400 people there. And we don't have the 70 nationalities only because we want to do something good to migrant people. We want to be close to the cultures and the markets that we serve with our technology. If you take Indian and Chinese colleagues into the R&D labs and you co-develop with that understanding, you get a different pattern of understanding. We should not be arrogant. Switzerland is definitely not the world. Europe is not the world. We need to make sure we bring this together. So yes, it is good for the people that are coming in, but it's also good for a company. We are a super highly diverse team. As I said, 8 nationalities on the top 10 of ABB. Our board has different nationalities. And with that, we have already experienced over 100 years the value and the impact that you can create by bringing together a diverse workforce. And I can only encourage everybody to do that if you want to play globally.
And when you have that level of diversity, what kind of challenges have you experienced as CEO managing and leading such a diverse workforce globally?
Look, for me personally, I've lived around the world. I lived here in the US, in Charleston, South Carolina. I lived in Sydney, Australia. I ran Asia operations. So for me, I enjoy being with different people. But when we pick leaders and when we pick people into ABB, I go back to our values. We need to pick leaders, we need to pick people that naturally collaborate in diversity. We need to have people that appreciate the diversity of opinion. I can tell you, when you have a meeting where you have a couple of German guys, a couple of Chinese guys, and a couple of US guys together, and say, okay, what should we do? The Americans come and say, we need 3 key messages, we need to market the hell out of it, and then we go out. The Germans come and say, we need to do 27 pages of analytics and deep root cause analysis to really get it going. And I'm German, so I can say that. And the Chinese come and say, we need to be faster. We need to be faster, we need to get out. Now, managing that on a daily basis is not easy. But bringing it together to really shape the company is an absolutely amazing thing. If you take what I showed you before, the robot conducting the orchestra. The hardware came from Västerås in Sweden, where we have the best and the most precise hardware of any robot player in the world. The AI came from our Shanghai team, where we have a startup zone within the company, where we do really innovative AI-based robotic solutions, and we got it going. The control piece came from our unit in Friedberg in Germany, and bringing it all together was the best of all worlds. And I think that's the challenge for people that come from outside ABB. When they come in, sometimes you stand and say, oh wow, this is really different. This United Nations of ABB is different. But if you bring it to its strength, you can really play it in a unique way.
All right, well, it's been amazing to watch you as CEO of ABB for 5 years, and to kind of, you are basically have to straddle all these huge issues because the size and scale of your company, the impact that you're having on the world. If there was something about your job that you could change, what would it be?
I would have faster flying and more time with my family. My wife recently told me, we travel commercial, we can't afford private jets because we are not in that thing. So when we travel commercial, I sleep usually on the seat 2A, and that's where I spend a lot of time. My wife recently told me she will buy me for Christmas a seat 2A, because I spend more time on that one than in our own bed at home. So if I could change that, I think that would be a fantastic thing.
I want to ask.
Sorry, it's honest.
Good. It's very good. I have some advice for you. I'll give you off stage. When you look at your peers, which are other Fortune 100 executives, and also is so impressive, Fortune publishes the Change the World list. I think you were just number 8. Amazing. Top 10 company changing the world. When you talk to your peers, what's one thing that you would like to see those top CEOs doing more of? What is the shift that you think that the top CEOs still need to make to improve the state of the world?
Look, I think as a CEO, you can have your job description in different ways. Some people say, I own, I run, I'm the big guy. Or you could say, I serve. And I see myself as a servant to my people. I see myself as a servant also to the world. And we defined, a couple of years ago, I was invited to speak in front of the UN about what industry can do to contribute. And we created a very simple line along which we run our company today. We want to run the world, and we want to contribute technologies that allow to run the world without consuming the earth. Running the world without consuming the earth. Our entire technology portfolio is today focused on that, on a clear purpose, where, yes, I serve the company, the people in the company serve the shareholders, the customers, but all together, we serve something that really changes the world. Did you know, if we would apply the most modern ABB electrical motors and the drives associated with that, and would deploy it everywhere in industry out there, technology that's available today, that you can buy today, which has a payback of less than 2 years, we could save as much energy as the United States of America consumes. And when you look at the challenge going forward, we can speak about renewables energies, where we play a major role in renewable integration, integrate and whatever. But we also need to talk about resource efficiency. And living that mandate with your R&D money, with your people, and aligning it that way is very good. So, look, I'm not in the business of criticizing others. My own experience is, if you put the service mindset into the center of what you're doing every day, you can contribute to your team and you can contribute to a really better world. And I can tell you, my toughest critics are not the peers. My toughest critics are my 2 boys, 17 and 19 years old. When they saw we get active on e-mobility, they said, okay, Dad, you're really helping to shape the world. And we took them to the ABB Formula E races, where we did a partnership to demonstrate to the world, and we are spending a significant amount of money, of our money there, to really mobilize the public, to get them going, exciting about the new technology, and you can do that. When we work together on energy efficiency and share what you can do in terms of saving natural resources, did you know if you use an ABB robot painting a car, you need much less paint than a human being? If you paint a mid-sized sedan as a human being, you need about 6 kilograms of paint to do this in a way that it looks okay. We need 2.5 kilograms. Because the robot is controlled in a much, much better way. We have the finest atomizers getting the paint on it. And yes, you can say we are consuming a lot of cars, but per car, per unit of consumption, we're using much less input. And I think that's something we should really strive for as companies all together. We should not strive to say, let's stop the world and not consume anymore. That's unrealistic. But what we should do is we should have a consumption pattern that uses technology to drive convenience, productivity, growth, and wealth of people by using technology in a smart way.
And tell me, when you look at your next level of innovation and the breakthroughs that are coming, you've been doing this now, as I said, for 5 years. If we look out, 5 years from now, 2023 or 10 years, 2028, what's the big innovation that will have happened from ABB that will kind of have that big next breakthrough that you're talking about?
Yeah. I need to be careful because some competitors might be listening.
Nobody's going to be leaving.
But we keep it amongst ourselves and the other 100,000 participants here, so that's okay. I described at the beginning the journey from copper and iron-based ABB.
But you do know it already then, so you're just going to be cautious in how you're...
Exactly.
Okay, all right.
So you have an AI-based ABB. And if you go with me, I'm advising and I'm very, very honored to work very strongly with the government of India and the government of China. And if you look at India and China, they will only be able long-term to have prosperity if they import value-added. If they say we do more of the value-added ourselves. Getting the value-added done at a quality and a productivity which is world-class, you need two things. You need skills and you need experience. Skilled people, you get a lot out of the university in China and India. Experience, you don't get that easy. So what we're doing now, we're using AI to basically democratize domain expertise. What we're doing is we're aggregating, and not only through the classic algorithms, analytics in AI, we are also using reasoning AI, where we go deep into the decision pattern of experienced engineers, and we extract domain expertise. And that means you get a skilled 27-year-old in China or in India, combined and augmented with AI, a domain expertise that allows to drive quality and productivity in a way that it is becoming competitive. And at the same time, I give you another example. We bought a company last year in Austria with about 3,000 people, a leader in machine and factory automation. They have a pretty solution-oriented business model, and they have about 800 engineers driving solutions in machine and factory automation. If I can use AI to extract their experience, democratize that, and drive productivity there, I can also create prosperity and growth in the Western economies, and that's ABB. We are working basically on the one hand with the population challenges in countries like India and China, where you have millions of young people coming, hardworking, good energy, good skills, but no experience. And then you have other places in the world, in the more traditional markets, where you got great experience, but you still need to work on productivity to be competitive against the other ones. So we are basically helping on both sides with that one. If you take AI today and you take digitalization, let's look at the life cycle cost of a robot. Take that as an example. We decided very early we change our robot business into a robotics business, where we have solutions carried by hardware rather than hardware that needs to be engineered by our customers. So we have that approach now, and if you take the life cycle cost of a robot, let's say it's 100, 20% is in planning, 40% is in build and buy, and 40% is in operate and maintain. We have for the plan, we have 3D simulation, where we basically simulate the future cell without spending any engineering hour on the physical hardware. We install much easier with lower risk and better quality. And we operate and maintain through our remote condition monitoring business that we have set up based out of India through that. With that, we save over the life cycle about 25% of the life cycle cost, which equals the cost of buying a robot. So that basically, if you work with ABB and our digital AI solutions, we save you as a customer the cost of buying a competitor's robot by driving lifecycle productivity. So AI as a technology and a solutions-based business model where we bring together three things. We take our domain expertise, We take what I call the cyber-physical Lego box of software and hardware elements, and engineering and application engineering. Put these three together, that's the future business model, and we based it a lot on AI. So that's simple, huh? Just copy it and...
When you look at, we have just a short period of time, 2018, you're doing this phenomenal job, you're building this amazing next generation company, you have this phenomenal vision for the world, but also for the society and the societies that you're operating in. When you look at the next CEO of ABB in 2028, what advice would you give her?
I think she should focus on what will be always the differentiating part of our company, and that's people. Look, our culture, it's amazing. When people come to ABB from outside, they always say, oh, what is it? After 3 years, they're contaminated with our culture. Because we don't do politics. We don't do that. We work together very smoothly, right? We tackle difficult things very openly, sometimes brutally openly. Sometimes people feel uncomfortable, but it's honest, it's authentic and straight. And we take care of our people. And I think she, my successor, maybe 28, I would be very old then. So let's see what I do at that time. But my successor, taking care of people.
You still be in C2A at that point?
I never know. I never know. But honestly, I think taking care of people in the way that we have tried to do it. Look, I just give you some statistics, how hard it was the last years and last decade to really make this happen. I joined ABB in 2005. We had about 18 billion turnover. We were 90,000 people, out of which we had 47,000 blue-collar people. Today, we are approaching 40 billion turnover. We have 146,000 people, out of which we have 40,000 blue-collar people. So we do more than double the company with less blue-collar. That shift in workforce, that significant productivity improvement that we had, not only on blue but also on white collar, the very tough decision that we had to take, we took the last 3 years 1.4 billion white collar cost out to become more productive. We all got this done without strikes, without major unrests, by taking the people with us. And I think that's what I would wish that my successor does. Keep transforming the company, keep transforming the technology, keep transforming the business models, but keep taking care of your people and take them with you on the journey, and she will be much more successful than I ever would have dreamed about being.
Well, it's a great vision. Thank you. Honesty, authenticity, transformation. Thank you, Uli, for coming to Dreamforce. Please give him a big round of applause. Thank you very much.
At ABB, we have the aim to run the world without consuming the earth.
And we, as a technology leader, we're trying to make an impact as the world moves its energy source to electrically driven mobility.
ABB is a pioneering technology leader that serves utilities, industry, and transport and infrastructure customers all around the world.
Our collaborative robots work hand in hand with humans. We are automating your homes, and we are providing EV fast charging stations.
Electromobility is what ABB believes as the future preferred method of transportation. And we are very happy that we had the privilege to support ABB Formula E in electrical, e-charging, and e-mobility car racing.
When you look at the impact of technology, and especially now digitalization, it offers tremendous opportunities for our customers to drive productivity and employment, and for ABB to drive profitable growth.
Customers are a big driver, actually, of the industrial revolutions because their demand and what they need are driving us to act fast and deliver solutions.
We want to grow, we want to drive execution, and we want to collaborate better. So in simple terms, more, better, together. The partnership with Salesforce is right in the center of this.
We differentiate ourselves to our customers by, first of all, listening to them. And then, of course, acting fast on what they tell us. Salesforce is a tremendous tool to help us to do exactly that.
Before we used to go on a siloed approach to the customer. Now we have a 360 view of what the needs of the customer are.
Today we have 28,000 employees in the marketing and sales organization on the Salesforce platform.
Whether they are field service engineers or salespeople, we are able to not only document but also address the needs of the customer. Now that's a much richer experience and a much tighter connection to the customer's challenges and solutions rather than just calling them up and say, what are you looking for from ABB?
We want to have zero distance between the customer and the salespeople. Salesforce really helps us on that, and it's a very important centerpiece of value creation for our customers, for our shareholders, and for our people.